when you experience setbacks, do you focus on the negatives? Do you focus on the obstacles of all the things that could go wrong? Or do you look for the positives? Do you find the reasons why you can come back? Sport is full of stories of teams and individuals overcoming insurmountable odds. I'm going to share one today and share some lessons on how you can bring that to your day-to-day life. I'm Ian Hawkins, and this is Sport is Life. The purpose of sport, as I see it, is to see your vision become a reality. Find your voice, create strong connections, and learn to trust your body. So I want to share with you a story, and from that story, you're going to learn how important it is to have a focus on the positive and to focus on what you want, not to avoid what you don't want. Now, some of my closer mates who listen to this podcast, they're going to laugh at me here and maybe even take the piss a bit, because I'm going to be talking about my team who's been languishing in the lower divisions of the English football leagues for way too long, relegated from the Premier League in the early 2000s, and it's been a long drop, a bit of yo-yoing between League One and Championship, and it's continued. But at the end of the 22-23 season, they narrowly avoided automatic promotion to the Championship and then went into the playoff. And in the first leg, everything that could have gone wrong did, and everything that could have gone right for their opponents, Port Vale, did. And after that first leg, they were down 4-0. I think for most fans, most people in football would think that the tie's over, move on, go home for the return leg and put on a brave showing and try and get some pride back. But that's not what happened behind the scenes. And what I have since learned, that the manager and his team, so that's Darren Moore, whose managerial career has been full of last day survivals and promotions, one of those managers that seems to thrive in that area of football. And what he did was he worked on their mindset for the week. They didn't do a heap of training, but most of what they did was focusing on two things. And one of them was watching every possible fantastic football comeback that they could find. And they watched these comebacks, and they watched the momentum build, and they watched how when things are going well, that the other team starts getting nervous, and they learned so much from that experience. And they talked about it after the fact, how positive they were, how much they spent on their mindset, their belief that they could claw their way back from this 4-0 deficit. And I remember tuning in with not much hope, and I wasn't even watching it fully. I was kind of getting ready to go to work and getting ready for the day. I actually can't remember what I had on that day, and watching it on my phone and then sort of missing bits. And then, and then they suddenly scored late in the first half, and then they scored again, and suddenly it's on, and they end up getting back right near the end of the game to 4-4 and take it to extra time. Incredible comeback, and all of the things that they'd witnessed happened again. One of the games that they watched was the Liverpool comeback in the Champions League final, when they were down 3-0 at half time. And we've heard the stories of the stirring speeches, and Stevie G basically, once the manager had left, and just telling them what they were going to do and how they were going to win this game. And so they experienced that euphoric rise, only to concede a goal in extra time to them be down 5-4. And I remember just thinking, isn't that just typical of Wednesdays, to get themselves back from a 4-0 deficit only to lose 5-4 in extra time? But then, as history will show, they managed to get the equaliser, win on penalties, and then in 120 minutes the following week in the playoff final, they won. Actually, it was more like 123 minutes. They won deep into extra time to go up into the Championship. But the important part was that they focused on what they could do, the belief, the positivity, and then looking for examples of success to follow, to emulate. When you look at change management, I've got a book down there, the bright blue one, just around about here for those watching the video. It's called Switch, and one of the things they talk about is searching for bright spots. And that's my alarm to put out the bin, so apologies for that. Carry on. We'll cut that bit out, or actually probably won't. To focus on the bright spots. And you, rather than going and here's all the things we did wrong, it's like, no, let's search for bright spots. They search for their own bright spots of what they knew they did well, what were their strengths, what would happen when they got momentum. And then, of course, they search for bright spots of other examples of why they could overcome this deficit, why they could make this comeback. And so wherever you're at in your life at the moment, are you doing the same? Are you focusing on all of the things that are going wrong? Are you focusing on all the obstacles, of all the things that are going to stop you? Or are you looking for bright spots? Are you looking to find that belief? Are you looking for something to emulate? Areas of success that you can follow, that you can model, that you can copy to start heading in the right direction. And as you know, sport is littered with these great examples of how you can overcome insurmountable odds. And they do it through belief, through will, mostly from that perspective of like, let's just see how we go, of having a crack and making sure that you've got that positive mindset, making sure that, you realistically are open to good things happening. Because when you come from that perspective, then you give yourself the best opportunity. If in your head you are expecting the worst, if you're expecting things to go wrong, then more often than not, that's exactly what's going to happen. Everything that you do will be pushing out that energy in your body language, in the words that you use, in the conversations you have. If you're already defeated at a logical level, at a subconscious level, then more often than not, that's what's going to happen. But if you shift your mindset, you create a new belief, you focus on the positives, and you find those bright spots to follow, then you're giving yourself a fantastic choice. The power of positive expectation. It works. I've seen it time and time again. I've experienced it myself. And as I said, you can find countless examples in the history of sport of how it works. Have you got your own comeback story? Is there something that you've already done that you've brought that positive attitude, that you emulated something? I'd love to hear you sharing. Let me know. Maybe you've got a story yourself. Maybe you want to come on and be interviewed, share your story, inspire other people. Also let me know that. Have a great day. You've taken the time to listen to this whole episode. Now it's time to take action. Commit to one thing you've learned today and make it happen. And to avoid any obstructions, join the Sport is Life movement by clicking on the link in the show notes.